p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Sorry. This is just like, what? Ugh, sorry. As you can see, I've been hit with directed energy weapons really aggressively in the past month. Actually, it started about the 26th of July, and then they had to upgrade their equipment here in Auburn, Washington, which is south of Seattle, twice in a month. Once right next to our home for the wireless, so that the wireless equipment, TV, phones, computers, would pick up more of the wavelength and direct it appropriately. Two was, I'm not quite sure what happened. We just lost all of our power for about 4 hours. And of course, when I complained to Puget Power and Light, they gave me this, it's just astounding how these criminals actually believe that people of intellect believe them. So since then, which happened about 2, 3 weeks ago, there's been a gradual increase in the power of the wave. It's been both acoustic and microwave. I have um, evidenced it. Sorry for this, but they're so full on right now. So there's like a helicopter, plane. It's everything that Florida was, but they just do it with a lot more manners. And I'm sorry I look like such a wreck, but hey, that's the way it goes. Um, I wanted to take a moment when you're targeted because you stand up for human, civil, and constitutional rights in your country as well as in the world. I want to take a little time to reiterate what I have endured now here in Washington, because it's basically the exact same program as it is everywhere. But I've learned so well how to deflect, except for the physical directed energy waves, and because I know so much at this juncture, tracing back to 1985 and joining Wall Street, no, earlier, 1983, even before Wall Street. I don't know that I'm going to survive this because they're really, pardon me, I'm so sorry. Um, they're really very committed to taking me out. There's just no other reason for the aggressivity, the aggression, because I tried when I came here to be very low key and to go silent, and they're just not having any of it because they're clinically insane. There's no other there I can come to no other logical, rational deduction about these folks who run these crimes against humanity programs. So same drive-bys with the heavy motors, polluting the air nonstop. Now, let's recall that the pollution of my airspace started in 2011 very aggressively in Puerto Rico with massive nanotechnology spraying. That's what I'm going to call it from now on, because everything else seems to fail. It's nanotechnology spraying. And it is meant to completely disable the earth so that these clinically insane dark triad personality types have their way with it. It's just, I laugh, and of course, it's a tragedy, but you have to laugh because it's stunning how insane and how paranoid and how demented these souls are. So, gang stalking, mail missing, packages missing, checks missing, not coming through the mail. Oh, total electronic invasion, like public, private, every single device that I'm on. And I've already reported that to the State Attorney General, and I'm hoping to expand that report because I do now have witnesses for the directed energy weapon use in this household, with affidavits and witnessing. Let's see what else. Shutdown of all governmental entities in terms of the benefits that my 1.5 million in taxes paid for. So the same kind of shuck and jive with everyone. I mean, really, 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 you know, attempted murder because they stole my disability. They completely stole $500,000, which I won't get into, but they did with fraud. Um, I'm sorry, chia seeds. Some things never change. Um, let's see what else. It is possible, and I'm not exactly sure, that the household also has been infiltrated because of something that happened a few weeks ago that was very, 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 actually, let's see, this coming Monday, it'll be 2 weeks, very, very typical perpetrator behavior. Let's see what else. Oh, the directed energy off the map. Infiltration in terms of folks calling me for housing. They're not real. I can tell. How can you tell? You know, once you've been through this for now, what, 6 years in my case, very aggressively, um, you learn and you discern. And let's see what else. The directed energy is, especially the acoustic, is really, really, really difficult because they've combined it with the most massive wildfire phenomena in the Pacific Northwest in the history of its history. Everywhere I go has like sudden, bizarre, you know, historical precedent weather that's so off the map that I have come to I've come to believe, like, wow, am I Typhoon Mary? No, but it does help them to murder a person, because if the integrity of your body is such that it's very difficult for the electromagnetic frequencies to disable you, and it's very difficult for the acoustics to disable you, then they need to poison your lungs, particularly because if they weaken your lungs, they weaken the blood. They weaken the blood and the carrying of oxygen in your body, which sets you up for cancer and or heart attack, because the heart has to labor more to pump more blood around. That's high blood pressure. It gets, and of course I do have that now. I have hypertension, thanks to these cretins. So I've not had clean air to breathe, and that was something that was helping me recover amazingly, as you might recall from the early messages and pictures. But you can see, without the oxygen and with being banged 24/7 here. So they hit me with directed energy weapons 24/7 here. No ifs, no ands, no buts. The only time they do turn it off is when they realize, because I've noticed this when I wake up in the morning, it's not on, because I've fallen asleep in my shielding, and that they really can't get the bang for their buck. And so they turn it off, and then they wait until I'm unshielded throughout the day, and then bang me everywhere they can. It's just amazing. It's really something else. And again, as I said, it's just an escalated program that escalated because I did the UN filing. I find it very interesting that suddenly the UN's, Office of Human Rights, where I did the filing on behalf of myself and other TIs, more motors. There's just it's a statistically impossible in a random event process for me to live where people have loud motors 24/7, particularly in the last 2 years. Um, so everything aggressively picked up from then, and that was March 18th of 2017. And then, of course, when I was trying to secure class counsel for us via a very, very reputable firm, um, they really went quite ballistic then, and that happened to coincide with me also filing specific documentation with my then senator's office for intervention in these crimes against humanity programs. And I had all the players spotlighted, and I was trying to get before the Senate Intelligence Committee. So I was really going to the heart of the dragon. And needless to say, they don't like me to be so close to their heart. I don't think they have a heart. I'm not sure what it is. Maybe it's like a double liver. I don't know. So That's where I am. And I don't know if I'm going to survive this because it's really it's quite comprehensive where I am, and they're quite aggressive about it. And even though I've begun to file complaints and I've busted several governmental agencies now. The reality is, sorry guys, it's Saturday. I'm chilling after not being able to sleep correctly for like 2 months. But since my shielding is really good now, it's better. But I still, as you can see, look at this. This is not normal. In fact, the first month I was here, my face was thinning down. My whole body was just dropping. All this swell weight, all this inflammation weight from being bombarded. What am I saying? From being assaulted, attacked, from experiencing attempted murder with a directed energy weapon, many directed energy weapons. There's a wide variety of them, as you probably come to know now. Oh, and the Cuba incident. Oh, this gets into our world and what's coming. As you know, about a month ago, the Cuban embassy, the American embassy in Cuba, as well as some Canadians, their personnel there, diplomats and others, about 21 folks, experienced some level of acoustic attack. Now, I noticed that when the story first broke, it was very clear it was going on the trajectory of truth because I know so much about directed energy weapons and what has happened to me. I mean, I have brain damage for sure just from these 2 months here of this. There's no question because it's the same kind of experience that I had in Florida. And, I have an IQ now, probably, it started at like 160, it's probably like 170 now. You've seen the earlier videos. The brain damage is very, it's very much an objective of these programs. So know that the succeeding stories that have come out about Cuba and the attacks on the diplomats are, of course, damage control stories. So they're lies, deception again, from the intelligence agencies as well as the military, because all of this emanates from the military and the intelligence agencies, domestically as well as abroad. And it's all lies now. Oh, it's a mystery because nobody can figure out what kind of weapons. It's impossible. It's such a flippin' joke because we have the patents. There are publications committed to the development of directed energy weapons. And like every other deception, it's just meant to control the damage so that more and more people don't wake up, which they are, to the fact they are targeted with directed energy weapons. Because even though I myself and many TIs who have been whistleblowers or have just been really good folks in the world, are very severely targeted to our DNA, and that's not hard to do at all because it's all frequency, guys. It's all, everything's a wave and a particle, and it's all, ultimately, though, everything beats like a heartbeat. So your DNA beats to a certain rhythm. All they have to do is figure out that intricate rhythm, and then they tag their directed energy weapons to your DNA so that they can lock in, and then they disturb your DNA and or your entire being. Now, if you're fairly evolved, it's difficult for them to get done what they want to get done, but it takes its toll. So please, until the stories start to depict really what's going on with the directed energy weapons, which is they're used massively throughout the world, blanketing poor and elderly areas of the world to terminate these lives early. And I have many witnesses for that, not just myself. And also anywhere where, oh, the light changed on my computer. Hi, guys. Go get a real job, please. You're so pathetic. It's absurd. Sorry. Um, it's very, well, everyone knows by now that there is an orchestrated genocidal program going on, or omnicidal program going on in the world, because it is statistically impossible in a random event process for the massive weather problems that we have seen throughout the world to be so geopolitically interesting, as well as to come on the hoof, come on the heel, the hoof, see? They have gotten to my mind. I was talking about a hoof instead of a heel. Not good. to come on the heel of the release of massive nanotechnology starting in my life in 2011. And since I seem to be always on the cutting edge of everything, which is another reason they really don't like me, um, it's very obvious that this is all being orchestrated. So what to do is the question as you're sitting there being sprayed like a bug and having your food sources completely destroyed, your air source, your oxygen source. You really need to go within very, very deeply and meditate on the opposite of this their trajectory or their timeline. And maybe not the opposite, maybe the synergistic amalgam of a trinity as opposed to a binary, because that's where we succeed, is in the trinity, not the binary. They live in the binary. That's all they can do there. It's almost as though their souls are locked out of the trinity. So the trinary. So that means not making them opposition and not making them bad and not making them what they are, just actually trying to, with compassion, love, and care, move through their insanity and bust them every which way from Sunday legally. And if anyone has any questions about how to do that, I'm more than happy to consult with them. But I must be paid. I cannot give information out for free. Um, the Interesting. I just lost my train of thought completely, so I must be saying something very important. Sorry, I'm particularly fried today because I've finally been catching up with some rest. Oh, a group of ladies, which I was almost a member of, but because of some kind of bizarre event with Dr. Catherine Horton, I got iced. Catherine Horton. Have put together a really, really, really wonderful document at Everyday Concerned Citizen. And you need to look at it. It's the notice of filing of intent to file criminal charges against these dark triad personality types with the International Criminal Court at The Hague, which is something that I recommended back in January. I can't believe it's taken this long. It's odd when I spoke with Catherine. In addition to that, Karen Stewart has been doing a knockdown, drag-out job with putting together some petitions, as well as telling her story, which she was holding close to the chest because, or close to the vest. See what I mean? See, brain. I'm just fried from all of it. Um, for obvious reasons, she wants to she wants her privacy respected, and it is a private matter. But what was done to her in Florida is an absolute abomination, and what is being done to women throughout the world is an absolute abomination. But it's in lockstep with this kind of Zersetzung, Stasi, Nazi, totalitarian protocol that they have running, which is to basically delete the life force of the planet and revel in the force of death and pain and suffering. This is something that I highlighted in my book, Pelicans, Coconuts, and Butterflies, published in February of 2010, which commenced the very aggressive targeting. So I would strongly suggest that even if you are not currently targeted, before 5G rolls out, because when it rolls out, everybody's targeted. No ifs, no ands, no buts. And I may not even be here anymore. And many of us who are very aggressively targeted may just die instantly of a heart attack or something equally as odd or equally as typical of their agenda. So I would strongly suggest that you follow everything that Karen Melton Stewart is doing. I know she has a few pages on Facebook, and try to support her work. I am standing down as much as possible because I just got too hammered and I really can't endure anymore. I have enough battles to fight here. But the good news about Washington State is that they know exactly who I am. They know exactly what's coming if they don't cease and desist. And I have so much evidence at this juncture between New Mexico, Puerto Rico, New York, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Florida, and now Washington, that it's impossible, 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 impossible for it to be a random event process, or for it to be me be a part of a mass hysteria. I mean, this stuff is just there. You know, the problem is they're so dim that they use the same strategy over and over and over again, and it becomes like their marker. And when it's their marker, then it's like, oh, that's them. Of course it is, because it's the same strategy or story over and over again. But Karen's really breaking some ground here in the United States. I would also strongly recommend that you follow the work that they're doing on Techno Crime Fighters Forum. Again, an idea of mine, but they may have had this idea prior to me, but it's okay. And act. Write to your senators, your congressmen, the president, every single person who is responsible for political management, the management of the populace in your life. Write to them and say, I stand in opposition to all of these such programs. We do not live in Stasi Germany. We do not live in communist China. We do not live in Soviet Russia. We do not live in Baby Doc's Haiti. We do not live in Popol's Cambodia. We live in the United States of America. And what has been done since the Patriot Act is an absolute butchering of our nation, and no more. Because if you don't do it, you're going to end up like me. And for the smallest thing, because that's the way totalitarianism rolls. And it's very clear that the wealthy of the world are incredibly intent on owning the world for themselves and having no one there except little worker bees who are transhumanist robots that they can program with radio waves. And there's probably a lot more to this, but I pretty much have connected all the dots, and it's not pretty. So you must act, and you must act today, and I mean today, because I've been speaking to you for what, 3 years, very aggressively about this, and I've been pretty adamant, haven't I? And you have been asleep. And so I'm not too worried about me, because I'm an old soul. I'll just roll into another lifetime and have a party for more than one lifetime, or I might just simply go back to source, because I've done some pretty good work in this lifetime. But the world, your children, your grandchildren, your pets, your husband, your wife, your parents, your grandparents will all suffer immeasurably. And the majority of people on the planet are not as evolved as they can be or should be to transcend this as best as possible. One of the reasons I'm so aggressively physically attacked is that it's impossible to reach my soul by their methods, or really my mind, although I certainly am having synaptic lapses here. Collapses here, not synapses. But that's okay. I take it in stride, because my brain is not my heart, and my heart is what matters. So thank you for taking the time today to listen to my excessively long video and say prayers. And if you can help in any way, please reach me at AniKaspar, ANIKASPAR, or at 206-778-9894, because I'm still in pretty hot water, because I have no family, and I'm pretty sure they actually might have killed my parents in 2004. You know what? I don't know. But let's put it this way. From 1997 on, when I stood up to Merrill Lynch, Pierce, Fenner, and Smith, whose logo is the bull, and who's Moloch? The bull. My life has gone through statistically impossible in a random event process, events that are absolutely without doubt an intelligence program called Life Misfortune. Blessings this day and always. And again, if you can help, please do. Reach me at Annie, ANIKASPAR at gmail.com, or at 206-778-9894. And please support everyone who is stepping up for targeted individuals and against these crimes against humanity, because you're next. I'm so sorry to say, and I pray not. Blessings.